Hello everybody, in today's video I'm going to be doing a tutorial on the 3x3x5 fully functional shape-shifting cuboid. I've wanted to do this for quite a while and I'm sorry for my procrastination. Also, I do have some blue on my hand. I was actually coloring some shapeways stuff and I just can't get it off. It's pretty permanent stuff. So anyways, I'm going to go through all of the algorithms that you're going to need first. These are a lot of the universal cuboid algorithms I've talked about before that you can apply to any cuboid, and I'm going to kind of show you exactly how to do it and what it does to the puzzle. Now, in the description are also going to be the algorithms for this, and I'm going to name them the same as I'm going to name them here. I'm only going to go through them a couple of times each, and then while I'm actually doing the tutorial, I'm just going to refer to them and then do the algorithm, and you can look in the description. I'm not going to teach the algorithm every single time I do it, but I will say it as I'm doing it, just so you know. All right, so the first algorithm we're going to want to learn is how to drop one corner from the top to the bottom without disturbing any of the other bottom pieces. So I'm calling this the corner drop algorithm. And this algorithm is fairly simple. It's just R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. You can see that it has dropped this corner down here. Now the red sticker's down here. And we've also turned this whole section here upside down. So that's another thing that it does. And it also switches some other, these two as well, but we don't care about that right now. What we're looking for is the corner drop. So doing that algorithm switches these two, and it also flips this whole middle section upside down. As you can see, it's supposed to be like this, but we're not paying attention to this. We will run into this later on, but I'll deal with it then. So the algorithm for the corner drop again is R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. The next algorithm we're going to learn is a corner swap. It swaps two corners. Now you can either do it here or you can do it here, but I'm going to do it on top and then I'll show you how to do it on this layer later on. So the way that you swap these two corners is with this algorithm. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. And then this is just moved over. You can actually move that back if you'd like. And now you can see it's actually a T permutation. It's swapped these corners. It's also swapped these edges, but we don't care about the edges. We're only looking for the corners. So it did swap these two. So the algorithm again is R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. And it also does that, so you can move that back. And that is called the corner swap algorithm. Now, the next algorithm you have to learn is how to swap two edges like this. Now, of course, you can use this, you know, the algorithm we just did, because it swapped the corners and the edges, but we want to swap the edges without swapping the corners. And this is by far the easiest algorithm. It's just R2, U2, R2, U2, R2. And you can finish it with U2, you don't have to, but, and now you can see that this is swapped with this, but again, we flipped this, but we don't care about that right now. All we're trying to do is swap these. So the algorithm again is R2, U2, R2, U2, R2. And then you can finish it off with U2 if you want. Now the next algorithm we want is another edge swap, and this was the across edge swap, the one we just did. This one is called the adjacent edge swap. It swaps this one for this one, and it's the longest of the algorithms that you're going to have to learn. And this one goes R2, U, R2, U, R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Now, if you had trouble following along, don't worry, it's in the description. This is the adjacent edge swap. So that swaps these two, and it also again creates this misplacement here, but we don't care about that. We're only doing this. So again, the algorithm is R2, U, R2, U, R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Now there's one more algorithm that you have to learn, but I'm going to actually teach it when we get there. It's a parity algorithm, and I'm going to teach it when we get there because you will either have it or you won't. So there's no point learning it right now. So we're going to scramble this puzzle up. You have to make sure, because it shape shifts and bandages these these pieces, that you swap them out. So you have to actually turn it, you know, turn these layers, and then we can start scrambling up the puzzle. And just scramble it regularly, without shape-shifting turns first. And so now we go around the tops and we make sure that they're all different. Like this is the same, so we want that to be different. And now these are all different. On this side, different, 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 different. So that's good. So now we can go ahead and start scrambling it like a 3x3. Now you have to know how to solve a 3x3 to solve this. So I am going to explain how to do it, but I'm not going into depth with it. The cuboid part of it is what this tutorial is about. Like you should already know how to solve a 3x3 if you're solving this puzzle. All right, so I think that's a pretty good scramble. So the first thing we want to do is get our cross. Now we're going to do the cross on the orange or yellow, or sorry, red. You may have a different color scheme, but what we're looking for is the cross with the extended layers. So like these ones here are regular, right? And these here are extended, they're poking out. And you can pick either one. And we're not looking to put the full cross in. We're just looking to get the shape back, except for the middle layer. But don't worry, I'll explain that when we get there. Now, seeing as how this one already has 2 pieces in, I'm gonna do that. So it doesn't matter where they go. You just have to get the shape back. So I'm getting the shape of the cross right now. So you can see I've got the shape of the cross and I've got an orange with the reds. It doesn't matter that I've got the orange with the reds. It really doesn't. So now I need the corners in. So we're doing this just like 3x3. This is a corner. So you put a corner in. Okay, and we're just going to do that all around. This is basic 3x3 stuff. My cube has had a malfunction here. So let me put this back in. And then here's another one. You can put this in. And then here's another one. We can put this in. So now we've got our cross and our first layer done down here. Now we want to put the middles in. The middles, which are the middle edge pieces on a 3x3, sort of like these pieces here, are ones that we do have to put in. So I'm going to use the beginner's method for this just in case you do. So we line it up and we put them in exactly the same way we would any other 3x3. So now you can see that this green and white is in the green and white spot. We look around, we can see that we have no more up here, which means they're down here. So take one out. And now this blue needs to come here. So we just do our familiar algorithm to put it in. And I can tell that I'm having problems with my cube. And is there another one out? Nope. So we have to bring another one out. So I've brought out this white and blue. So put it over the white and blue, turn it away from blue. I'm sorry if this part seems like I'm going fast. If you're not able to, see what I'm doing by this easy, simple 3x3 stuff, you're probably not ready for this cuboid. So, and then this green one can come in now too. So now that we've got our middle layer in, we're left with this. Now this is basically just like OLL stuff. Like whatever is poking out on top is the same as having whatever is yellow on top. So I know the 2-look OLL, so I can do my algorithm to permute all my corners. And so now this is the same as this. You can see, right? We've got our cross on top, and then we've got 2 headlights here and 2 here. And these are headlights poking out the front and the back. And so you can just do your algorithm to solve it. So now we're getting into the actual cuboid stuff. So this is really where the tutorial starts. Now you can pick either side. You can either, start on, with this on the bottom or this on the bottom. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to start here because I've already got one piece in. So I've got this yellow one in, and most of the time you can turn it because like here, we've got one piece in as well, so here we've got 2 pieces in, so you can try to turn it, but I'm only going to concentrate on this one piece just so I can show you guys how to do it. So we need a green one here. So it's easy to go like this and then turn it down, and now we have a green one here, but we've screwed this middle layer up. We don't want to do that. So what we do is we put it on the side, then we bring the position it needs to be up, we replace it and bring it down. So now we've got a green one here and our middle layer is solved. All right, so we need a yellow one here. Here's the yellow one. Again, we can't just turn it down because it screws up our middle layer. So we turn it out of the way, we bring it up, put that in, and now it's down. And now the blue one. So we have a blue one here. So we turn this where it needs to go up, replace it with a blue one, and put it down. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to put in the corners down here. And so we're going to use that corner drop algorithm. But instead of using the top layer, we're going to use the second layer because that's what we're dealing with now. So let's put in this blue and yellow one. So here's a blue and yellow, but I know this one doesn't fit here because if I put it there, you could see it would be upside down, right? And it matches up with this middle one already. So I know this one belongs in this layer. So I keep moving it around, and here we are. Here is a blue and yellow. But what if this wasn't there? What if this piece was in the bottom layer already, just not in this one? So I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so we saw this blue piece here and it wasn't there, and we're looking around trying to find the other blue and yellow, and it's not here. And it is down here. Okay, well, the corner drop algorithm, it swaps these two. So I need this in the top layer. So if I do the corner drop algorithm from here, it will swap these two and put this in the top layer. So we're going to do that again. It's R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now it's here. But remember when I did that, it also screws up this middle layer. See, it's supposed to be like this, and now it's like that. So we can't just move this over the blue and yellow and do it again because now it'll swap these two. And this corner that belongs here, or this edge, will now be over here. So what we do is we keep this parity. We're going to call this a parity, this flipped over edge piece. And we're going to keep that here, and we're going to move the location where this needs underneath it. So when we do the algorithm again, it'll solve this, and it'll put our middle back. So that's R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And you can go ahead and put this back if you want. You don't have to, it doesn't matter. But let's try to find the blue and white now. So here's a blue and white, but again, it matches with this one. So I know that this one belongs up here, and it is not here, which means it has to be in the lower layer, which is right here. So this is the green and yellow. We need to flip these. So this one comes up here. But why don't we try to put the green and yellow one in here first? That way, you know, like if here's a green and yellow, this one doesn't match, and it's actually not here, which means it's here. So we're just going to flip these and put this this blue and white in the top one. So it's R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Here's the blue and white. Now we've created this parity along the side again, so we don't want to move the cube like this. We want to move the bottom layer so this piece can come down in solved now. So that's R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now we've solved this. And now we just have this piece to come down here. And that's the only one that's left in this layer, which means that we're going to be left with a parity, which is good for this example. So let's put this one down here. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And we've got parity here. So we're going to want to continue to hold the cube in this position. We don't want to rotate the cube because if we do another algorithm that makes parity, we're going to screw it up even more. So we want to hold it here. Now what we're looking for is we're going to solve this top layer, and we're going to do the corners first. And we're looking for headlights. So headlights is the same color. So this is yellow and white. That's not the same color. Green and white. Nope. Blue and blue. Here we go. So blue and blue is headlights. And for the corner swap algorithm, where you swap this corner with this one, you put the headlights on the left because you're swapping these two. So you put the headlights on the left. Now, if you don't happen to have headlights anywhere on the cube, you can perform the corner swap algorithm from any direction. You know, you can go like this, it doesn't matter, and you can perform anywhere, and it will create headlights somewhere for you. Then you can put them on the left, and now you'll be where I am. So you put the headlights on the left and you do the corner swapping algorithm. Now the corner swapping algorithm does not fix parity, so we will continue to hold the puzzle with the parity on the right. The headlights on the left, and we go R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. Now you can see that it did not fix the parity, but it did fix all of the corners. All right, so now we have to see what we have. We have, keeping this parity on this side, we have a solved side, and then we have headlights with this one, headlights with that one, and headlights with this one. So this is actually a U permutation, which you could do because it's there. It's in the, a 3x3 state right now, but we're not going to do that because we're trying to learn the cuboid algorithms. So these cuboid algorithms are going to mess up this parity, okay? So it's going to flip it back and forth, back and forth. Now, when you have this case, which is a U-perm, you already have one side solved. You put that side on the left, just like you did with the headlights on the corner swapping. Now we're going to do an across center swap because this blue one that's here will come here and solve this. So that algorithm is R2, U2, R2, U2, R2. And you can see that it has fixed the parity. So now we are free to turn the cube any way we want because we don't have to fix any parity. And now what we're left with is an adjacent center swap. So we have to swap these two, and that algorithm is in the description. And what it's going to do is create parity here though, okay? So that is when we're going to learn the parity algorithm to fix that. So anyways, let's swap these two. So we want this in the front and the right, and we go R2, U, R2, U, R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. Now, because those algorithms swap the middle piece, and now the middle piece here is upside down, we've got the yellow here and the white here, we can't use one of those algorithms to fix this because there's nothing else to solve. So we have to learn another algorithm. And this is called the parity algorithm. So that will be in the description. The way that you solve this parity is you hold the parity in front of you or on the right and left. So this whole bar needs to be flipped upside down. So you want this whole bar in front of you. And the algorithm goes like this. U2 through these layers. So when I say U2, I'm talking about above the parity. So it's right here because the parity is here. We're going above the parity. So the algorithm is U2, R2, F2, U2, F2, R2, U2, F2. And you can see that we have solved the parity. So that is, I know I'm going fast, but this is going to be a long tutorial anyway. So anyway, so all the algorithms are in the description. You're going to have different cases than me. I understand that. You're just going to have to use the algorithms and kind of think about what they do. It's I can't show every single case in here, otherwise it'll be hours long. But so what we're going to do is we're going to solve one of the sides. It doesn't matter which one. Now I can see already that the green is on the opposite of blue and the white is on the opposite of yellow, and they're both orange, which matches with the center. So I can actually turn them around and I can have this one solved and this one solved already. So I'm going to use that as my bottom. Now what I want to do is put the other two orange pieces in. So let's do the blue one first. So here's the blue one, and if we put it over top, you can see that it's matched up. But again, we can't just turn it over like this because now we've got parity in here. So what we do is the same we did in the first two, because doing these two layers, we're going to do the exact same thing we did here, but now all of our moves are only going to use these layers. So it should be pretty easy now. So you put this on the right, you turn it up where it needs to go, replace it, and put it down. So now it's in, there's no parity. Same with here. Here is the orange that goes here. So we move it up, we place it over top, and we put it in. All right, so now we're on to the corners, and this is the corner drop algorithm again. And remember, this one creates parity, and the parity is not going to be just this one anymore. It's going to be all three of these. So let's take a look at the first one. This is the yellow and blue. So let's turn the yellow and blue side underneath it and perform the algorithm. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. All right, so now we've created parity. So we don't want to cube rotate. We want to keep it like this and only move these layers and these layers. So let's move another one in. So this is an orange. I know that goes on the bottom. Let's move this one in here. So this is the white and green. So let's move it until the white and green spot is underneath it and perform the algorithm. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now we can move another one into this spot, which is the green and yellow. So here's the green and yellow. Do the algorithm again. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now we move the last one in, which is the blue and white. So we move the blue and white in. So R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. And now you can fix the bottom. Now sometimes when you're done this, you might have parity, sort of like this. So now we've got the parity here, all of this is done. And sometimes you might end up just like this. Now this isn't bad. All we're gonna do is we are going to keep this on the right, just like we did when we had it in the middle row. That's all we need to do. And so now we're looking around for headlights again on the top layer because we're looking to solve the corners. And we do have them right here. Again, if you don't have any headlights, just perform the corner swap algorithm and it will solve all of your headlights. So, or it'll give you one set of headlights. So now you're at the spot where I am here. And remember, this algorithm does not fix parity. So you still have to continue to keep this on the right all the time. So put the headlights on the left and do the corner swap algorithm. R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, D, R2, U prime, R2, U, R2. And now you can see that we've got all of these solved. So this is the case that we didn't have in the first one. We don't have a U perm. So now you can see that we have to actually figure out how to do stuff. So let's try to figure this out. If I do an adjacent swap, so I swap this corner for this corner, it'll put the yellow one here and solve it, and the blue one here. So I'll have a solved pair and 3 unsolved, which will then be a U perm. And it'll also solve this parity. So let's do the adjacent edge swap. R2, U, R2, U, R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2. So now you can see we've swapped this. So now we're free to turn it any way we want because there's no parity. And because it's an even layered cube, you can only have the parity in the first part when you're solving these two. If you have parity here when you're done doing this bottom layer, don't worry, when you do the top, it'll always work out. You'll never have to do that parity algorithm when it's in these 3 layers. So again, because we have a solid piece, you put that on the left and then you do a cross swap. And that's just the general rule. If you have a U perm, sort of like you have a full bar solved and then headlights, 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 you put the full bar on the left, and in order to solve the layer, all you have to do is an across swap and then an adjacent swap. So let's do an across swap. R2, U2, R2, U2, R2. So we've created the parity here and we have solved this and this. So now we want to do an adjacent swap and they need to be in front of us and on the right. So now we just do an adjacent swap. R2, U, R2, U, R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, R2, U prime, R2, and now we can just solve it by turning our layer to align with everything else. And you have solved your 3x3x5 cuboid. Sorry if I went a bit fast, but this is already into the 20 minutes. So if I went through every single case, you're just gonna have to experiment yourself if you're having some trouble using the algorithms. You can't screw it up. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on my next video.